welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV. Before I introduce you to today's guest, I want to just let you know that if you are struggling with any area of your life and you need direction, if it's with relationships, a past story, what's next, what is calling to you, I do offer one-on-one sessions. You can check those out on my website at victoriareynolds.com. And if you haven't picked up your free gift yet, I do have a book over there as well. It's titled Rise Up, A Simplified Guide to the Great Awakening, Spiritual Revolution, and the Ascension. It's a great book I wrote a few months ago to help people understand what's happening in the world right now and to help them possibly help others as well. So head on over to victoriareynolds.com for all of that. Now today's guest is a new friend of mine. His name is Hillis, and I met him a little bit ago because he and I are both affiliates with HempWorks and My Daily Choice products, and we just hit it off. Apparently we're new friends, old friends. And so I am bringing him on now. Enjoy this wonderful conversation and the beautiful being that Hillis is. Recording has started. I mimic her voice well. Okay, so Hillis.
Hello, Victoria.
Hillis, how do you say your last name?
Pugh.
Pugh, like the church pew. There you go. And you were born where?
I was born in Chicago in the June of 1976. Yes, I'm telling my age for everyone to know. And I lived in Chicago for most of my life. Then moved to New York for about 6-8 years, and now I reside in Florida. I like the weather down here, though, all year round, pleasant.
Yeah, I've only been to Florida one time, and it was on vacation with my kids. I'm thinking about heading that direction and experiencing Florida weather on my own.
Yeah, the Southwest is really nice all year round. There have been a couple of times where we've, had some cold snaps where it gets into the 30s, but that's it. Have to bring some of the plants inside or cover them up, but for the most part, it stays relatively nice all year round. And I'm thinking, do I ever want to live in Chicago again? I don't know. I've gotten used to ditching all my pants and only wearing shorts all year round.
It's hard to go back to bundling up unless you're just doing it on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the warm weather myself. I'd be perfectly content in just a sundress or short tank tops every day. So normally when I go on vacation, I just head further south.
Yeah.
The best way to go. Costa Rica, Australia. It's just keep going south.
Exactly.
So growing up in Chicago, what was your family like? I mean, I don't know anything about Chicago other than I've been to the airport and I hear there's spectacular shopping downtown. But that's all I know about Chicago.
Good shopping, good eating. You can't go wrong in Chicago. But growing up in Chicago, I grew up all on the South Side. So from the time I was born to the time I was 20, I grew up all on the South Side. Grew up in Barnesville, grew up all the way out in the hundreds. I grew up everywhere, with just my mom, my aunt, and my grandma, my cousin, and of course, pets, plenty of pets growing up. But it was an interesting dynamic because, as I now know that, we choose our family. We choose those who's going to help us and guide us on our life path and purpose. And, not knowing and understanding that growing up, throwing temper tantrums and trying to get what I want and being doted on sometimes and spoiled, sometimes you really just don't understand how good life is until you really step out of it. But then, of course, growing up in Chicago, there's always have been its challenges being a Black male growing up in Chicago. There were times I was profiled there were times where, you know, just all the things that you would expect growing up in a city, you know, to occur. And, you know, there were moments where I got mugged at knife point. You know, yeah, I was mugged at knife point. I was, how old was I? I think I was like maybe 13. No, I was working, so I was maybe about 15 years old, and I was going to go get school supplies. And I got mugged at knife point. I was going to go get school supplies, and I got $200 taken from me. And luckily, I had more at home because I went back to the store with my cousin, and we went to the store, and I was fine to get my school supplies. And then, you know, and it's so funny now that I even think about it, a few weeks after that, I even almost got jumped on in front of my house. And mind you, this is a nice, at this time I was living in Bronzeville, which is a pretty nice area of Chicago. I was like so surprised. And my cousin, you know, who at the time was very protective of me because I was the younger one. He's just older than me by a year, but he even ran out the house to try to go find the people who tried to jump me. So it's like, you know, I was very fortunate at times to have such a loving, caring, supportive family unit, even though it was filled with the divine feminine energy, which is, you know, what I needed. And so, you know, most of my life, I always wondered what my life would have been like if I had a role model, if I had a father figure. And you know, I always had male energy around us, but never one of constant flow being there. And it was about almost 6 years ago now where I met my biological father, and it was such a joy to meet him. And after meeting him and knowing him and meeting my brother and sister, it's like, yeah, I think I chose the right path to just stay with my mom, you know, and not to have this man who I love and adore, by the way, you know, having to know him and have this relationship with him. It's really amazing to see the dynamic and the shifts of, you know, of watching my siblings and knowing what their lives were like, you know, when they were growing up with my dad, and then reflecting upon my own life growing up, you know, without him. And I'm like, yeah, I think I got away with a lot of stuff. I had a lot of fun growing up.
Oh, wow. Well, that's cool that you've been able to experience that and see that dichotomy, because not a lot of people have that opportunity. And
yeah.
And that you got to see that, yeah, you made the right soul choice for you.
Yeah. Yeah, pat on the back for my soul self. No, because, and it's interesting because, and just a quick note here, you know, that, you know, I had a dream a long time ago in how we as souls make this soul choice. You know, we are, you know, once we're born into this, as a soul, into this energy, into this body, we then have the ability to choose our life. Right. And the dream that I had was we are in what I call this purple bubble. Okay. At least that's what it looked like to me, a purple bubble. And then we are shown what I recall is 6 options. You know, you get glimpses of each option. And hence this is where the energy and feeling of deja vu comes from, because we, you know, in this space of, okay, do I want this life, A, B, C, D, E, or F? Which one do I want? And so you pick that one because, you know, for most of us, you know, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, I know the reason why I picked the life that I picked is because it's going to allow me for the fastest growth and connecting to what I need to connect with. And so when we allow for our intuition to come in as we step out of our ego, when we step out of whatever we need to step out of, we just allow the energy to make the choices for us.
That's cool. So it's almost like, and I hadn't seen that kind of description before, but what I'm sensing is almost like you're given 6 different timelines to choose from.
Yes.
And then you pick the one that from a soul perspective is going to be the best learning environment for what your soul has to experience.
Yes, and then there are some who take the easy way. It's like, I'm tired of a hard life. I just want an easy life now.
I can see that. Yeah, yeah. I've done enough learning. I just relax this lifetime.
Indeed, indeed. Unless you have a higher purpose, then the answer is no.
Yeah. Well, some of us start out with a really difficult childhoods so that we can, like, build the muscle that's necessary for the work that we're here to do later on.
Indeed, and I can definitely
choose really painful childhoods.
And I can definitely say that, not saying that my childhood was painful. It wasn't, but it definitely prepared me for what I am doing now in my life. Of being of service, and not just this life, but the lives before. There was actually the most recent past life, I was a 6-foot tall white man as a Hollywood actor,
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not going to name names, but he was definitely a well-known actor in Hollywood for his time.
Oh, cool.
And there were lives before where I was persecuted for using my ability. So, it ranges from the whole thing. So maybe my Hollywood life was the easy life,
Maybe, yeah, because a lot of us in previous lifetimes, were tortured and persecuted for our, for lack of a better word, our magic.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Yeah, and some of us still carry those wounds, and it's interesting in how now that I am at the energetic space that I am now really embracing all of it and letting go all of that, so I can really allow myself to step into the role of that I asked to step into for this life.
Mm-hmm. And this is really an amazing lifetime that we're experiencing, because in this particular lifetime, we're given the opportunity to heal all of our previous lifetimes.
Yes.
All at one time, so that we don't have to continue to carry any of that karma forward. We can actually clear up all of our past karmic cycles.
Yeah.
So it's really an extraordinary lifetime to be in.
Yes, it is. And what's fascinating through all of this, because you asked me before, like, what was my moment? Like, what was the moment for me where I realized that I was meant to do what I meant to do? Like, what was, my challenge?
Your awakening experience.
Yes, my awakening experience. And, no one has ever asked me that question before. And so as I sit and reflect upon that, I honestly, there was no one true defining moment. There were moments upon moments upon moments that added up to where I am now. For example, when as a teenager, growing up, teens as rebellious as they are, no one knows us, no one understands us. We go through this whole routine, this whole song and dance. We know, okay, we get it. And so in that space, I felt love and support from my family. And when I decided to move out when I was 20, when I made the choice of moving out to be on my own, I feel like that was my big first defining moment, because my mom asked me, she said, "Hillis, why do you want to move out? Why do you want to do what you want to do?" It's like, we love you. We want you to stay here. We want you. They wanted me to be at home. And I say, I can't grow here. I remember that so clearly, like it was yesterday. I told my mom, I'd say, I can't grow here. I feel stifled. And it's like, I have to have a place of my own just to have that experience. And that really helped me to understand the world better, the world in which we live in. It's nice to have the comforts of home and to be at home and to be around all of that, yes. But to truly experience the world, to know the world, to understand it, to be of service to it, you have to go out and live it. You have to go out and live in it. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of my defining moments of awakening, having my awakening experience that led to many others along the path, such as, my faith, my spirituality, my appreciation for life, and just so many others along the way that now probably was the catalyst for it all.
Yeah, yeah. So when did you have some spiritual gifts?
Yes.
I know that you do. How did you discover those? How did they show up in your life?
It's interesting. So when I was maybe about 5 or 6, I remember going to go see my stepfather, who was in prison at the time. And I remember telling him, I was like, at night, I can see, like, if I focus on something really hard, it goes pitch black, and then stuff starts to happen. I can't remember the exact words, but that was the gist of it. He's like, yeah, he's like, I bet it does, son. I was like, I bet it's really magical. I'm like, yeah. And so I feel, that was one of the moments where I realized there was something special, something different about me. But it wasn't until I got old enough to really tap into my abilities, because, I hear other people who had similar experiences, especially around my age, to where they say, oh, I grew up and my gifts weren't nurtured. People ignored them. People say, it's the devil's work and all this other craziness, all this craziness. And so, especially being, Black, I mean, my goodness, you talk about, this or that, it's like voodoo. But I believe, when I really truly understood my abilities is when I was maybe around 30, like late 20s to like around 30-ish, is when I really understood the gifts that I had, and I'm happy that these kids that are coming in now, they get it right away.
Oh, the ones that are just being born?
Yeah, and the ones now, even the teenagers now.
That's true. That's true. Once they get past because I've noticed when they're younger, they're born with it intact. If they're in a home that cultivates it, they keep it. But what I've seen with my own kids who are now both teenagers, they forget.
Yes.
So it's still kind of there, but it's almost like they're embarrassed that they have it.
Yeah.
So it's not that I haven't cultivated it in my kids, and I've talked to so many other parents who say the same thing, that have children that were born with these gifts, that it's almost like the kids become embarrassed that they have those gifts, and so they hide them.
Yeah.
I'm kind of seeing like they have a platter of gifts and they put them on the table and then they put the lid on top. And someday they'll take the lid back off and go, oh, that's right, I do have that gift. Yeah. But a lot of teenagers now I'm seeing are not even teenagers so much as it's the older ones. It's the kids who are like 18, 19, 20. They're almost embarrassed that they have those gifts because of what's going on the planet right now, of trying to, what I'm kind of sensing is that we live in duality, right? There's the dark side and the light side, and we came here to learn through the contrast. And so what I've been sensing is that the dark aspects of our planet really don't want these kids to remember who they are.
Well, that's been since the beginning,
Since the beginning. I mean, I had that too. I had these gifts when I was a kid, and the dark aspect. Now, in my case, it was a dark aspect of the particular religion I grew up in didn't want me to remember my gifts, because the gifts were, like you said, considered evil. But at some point, we start to remember who we were when we came in.
Yeah. It's just funny because my initiation into remembering was not fun at all. It was quite scary, as I'm sure it is for anyone who's on the path of remembering their abilities. But it also comes to that place of acceptance of self and remembering of it is. And as I'm sitting here talking about this, I am being guided to share with you a little anecdote of how supportive and sometimes misunderstanding these gifts can be. My mom, I was living in New York at the time. And I told my mom, I'm like official now. I'm like certified. I could do this. I'm like, I can do whatever. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm going to send you something. So for my birthday one year, my mom sends me a book, an oversized book maybe about that thick. I still have it, where it's the history of New York. And I called her up and say, thank you for the gift, Mom. She's like, yes, to help you with your abilities. I'm like, Mom, it doesn't work that way. But it's in how we allow ourselves to honor and appreciate the gifts that we have and cultivate them ourselves. It's about, there are scary moments, especially in uncharted territories. And even now, as I continue to evolve with the energy work that I do, there are some scary moments. There was a night that I was meditating, and I was working with a particular symbol, and I cracked the glass of the candle that it was in, and the glass was maybe about that thick, and it cracked right down. And I'm like, oops, not doing that again.
So you've had multiple experiences like that?
Well, not like that, not like, with the candle glass, but just instances in general when, there are moments where you open yourself up to receiving new energies, opening up to learning more about myself per se, about my abilities, and learning how they work and how they move and how they create, because it's all unseen, it's all felt. And so when I tune into the feeling of what's around me, when I cultivate the energy that's around me, cultivate the energy that is within me to be expressed, and say, being a little chemist and alchemist, this person who likes to move and manipulate energy. There's some things I do try, and I'm like, oh wait, that was interesting. Oh wait, so these little moments. But it's always going to be times where you're going to surprise yourself. There's always going to be these moments where you're going to say, okay, I get it. I understand it. I know what fuels the energy. I know what's the boiling point, if you will, to really get things going.
So was there a time that you felt compelled to start learning how to use your gifts? Like, was there something that you felt calling to you of, I feel like there's some spiritual gifts that I need to pursue? Or were there classes that you took? And you said there was a scary experience in the beginning. Are you open to sharing that?
Oh yeah, definitely. So there was a moment at this time, the person I was seeing, they were gifted. And I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. This is nice. And so me being an empath, not knowing I was an empath, I was able to piggyback off of their visions or some of the things that they would see. And then I would see what they would see sometimes. And that was really interesting. But the part that was scary for me was that I was in my apartment. We were there. We were together. And all of a sudden, I just got like this chill. And I'm like, what the heck is this? What's happening? What's going on? And before I know it, I heard the name Sarah. And I'm like, who is Sarah? Do you know anyone named Sarah? No. I'm like, who is this? What is this? What's happening? And so I just felt like a mass. And I'm not saying this was, in any way dark energy or negative energy. It was just something that I didn't know, something that was uncomfortable for me because it was my first experience. So as I went through this, I was like, I got to get out the apartment. I got to get out the apartment. And so I left the apartment, and I felt like she was like right here in front of my face and like really on me. And I'm like, I got to get out. And as we left the apartment, I just felt her really close to me. And mind you, in Chicago, I was living on the north side at the time, and if you know anything about Chicago, their train system runs parallel to a cemetery, one of the main big ones in Chicago. And my apartment building was just an alley or a street away from the cemetery. And so as I'm walking down the street, I'm feeling her presence, feeling her presence. It's almost a block and a half away before I finally feel her energy fade. And the next thing I know, I'm hearing people's thoughts, literally hearing people's thoughts, word for word, everything that they've done that day, everything that they were thinking about doing. Like, this was freaking me out. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was in literally tears because I had no control. I had no clue of what was happening. And so I went to the store, got some sage, and started burning, and I felt better. And now it's like, okay, I know how to use this. But in that moment, in that experience, I shut down that empathic experience. It wasn't until years later until I started having the desire to learn and actually going to school in New York, while I learned about my abilities, learned about what kind of psychic medium I am, to learn about what kind of this I am and what kind of that. So it's like, it's real interesting because for anyone who knows this, me personally, being an empath is the doorway to many other abilities, such as being a psychic, such as being a medium, such as being an energy practitioner, one who works with symbols, one who does all the stuff that I'm doing now. So to me, that was just, the doorway to everything.
So what kind of school did you go to?
It was actually the Holistic Studies Institute in New York. So it was a school just for psychic abilities. Not like, Professor X, not like an X-Men type of thing. I kind of wish it was. I think that would have been fun to have like a whole house full of psychics and empaths. I think that would be fun. But it was a 9-month course, where I get to meet with these beautiful people once a month for 9 months, and I would practice, and do the homework and discover more about myself. And it was a really interesting journey for those 9 months because I really got to see and understand how allowing myself to connect to the source, the soul, the energy that is me.
Wow, I didn't even know they had schools like that. That's
yeah.
And as you were mentioning the X-Men, I immediately thought of like, this is a school where you go. It's a different kind of superpower, but they are superpowers.
Yeah, they are, and just what one thing I want to clarify here is that in the beginning, yes, I thought that they were gifts, because people always use that term loosely, gifts and powers and things like that. But what I want people to know who are watching, that these are abilities that we innately have as souls, as beings, as humans. We innately have these abilities. We just forgotten how to use them, and now it's time to remember how to unlock the key, the door, if you will, to access this energy, this information that is you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's the reason to me that a lot of us had them. It isn't even activated. It's what I call remembering.
Yes.
Member as in remembering our parts, remembering who we really are, because we all have those abilities. It's an innate part of our divine human blueprint. We just have forgotten that that's who we are. And what I'm amazed how many people have even forgotten how to use their intuition, which is that's basic human 101.
Yeah, it is. And I can tell you there have been many times where I didn't listen to my intuition, and I was like, I should have listened.
Yeah, and we all have it. It is a connection to the divine. And then the more we start to listen, the more we start to remember our other gifts, and we call them spiritual gifts. And maybe there is some of that, because what I've seen, that some people are more gifted in one arena more so than another. It's like what I call it, and all of them are what I would consider a high spiritual IQ. But
Yeah.
for example, in school, we have kids that have a high intellectual IQ. Some people are better at math. Some people are better at science. Some people are better at different things. And so within this spiritual IQ, some people are just better at certain things than other people. But we all have access to a high spiritual IQ.
We do. And that's one of the things I'm actually been putting off on the side is actually putting together a course to help people build their spiritual IQ, their intuitive muscle, to really allow that energy to trust in who they are. And without that, without the basics, without the fundamentals, then how can we allow to build on anything else, you know?
Right. And I think that is the work that a lot of people are doing, is understanding. I mean, we all understand that we're here to help the rest of humanity become the best version of themselves. Remember our divine human blueprint, so that as we collectively move into this new world we're creating, we're leaving this old world and all this fear-based hoopla behind, which is actually, it's not even real. It's fear is false evidence that it's real. We leave that stuff behind, and in this new love-based reality we're creating, we all become our own guru.
Yes.
Some of us are just here to teach other people how to become their own guru in their own lives, and it doesn't make us better than anybody else. We just chose to come here and be part of this next wave of consciousness to help other people wake that up within themselves.
It is. And so I want to share with you too another acronym that Neil Donald Walsh shared with me when I interviewed him a few weeks ago. He said to me, yes, you know about fear, because, you know, like the one that you just spoke of, false evidence appearing real. He said that to him, fear is feeling excited and ready.
Now, I use it for something else. I use the acronym as face everything and rise.
I like that one.
For fear, yeah.
I think we're all in there right now, especially most of us light workers, you know, the ones who are here doing the work. I think that we are in that momentum. We are in that shift. And for me personally, you know, I can definitely say that I've learned something new about myself, which was very interesting. So if you've ever watched my show, Cosmic Insight, co-hosted with Rebecca Gregory, she does sound healing. So she does a lot of sound and light language. And we were, you know, just playing around one day on video, not really doing anything. And she started doing sound. And when she got done, I said, Rebecca, I can understand it. I can understand most of what you're saying. I'm just like, what? I'm like, yeah, I can translate your sound.
Was she speaking light language, or was it the music itself?
No, she was speaking. So, you know how some people, when they do light language, it's what people will call in tongues or whatever. Hers is a little bit different. You know, hers is light language. It's almost like a song. And it's singing and it's all this other stuff. And so I'm getting to a point now, because I started actually drawing light language symbols myself. Mm. And I'm getting to a point when I can actually understand the words, understand the energy, understand the frequencies, and translate it into English, into our language.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I do that a little bit with one friend of mine that speaks light language. It's empathically being able to translate it.
And isn't it fun?
Cool.
It's like, wait, say that again? Okay, wait, okay, let me get it. So it's fun. I love doing it. So it's like my favorite little guilty pleasure now.
Yeah, and it's being able to, like you said, it's translating the energy of it.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, spirit doesn't speak English.
No.
Right. Sorry.
That's what intuition is for.
English or Hebrew or whatever. We all have to translate it into a language that our mind understands. So we get energetic impressions.
Yeah.
That our mind then translates into a language that our mind understands.
Yes. Which actually, this is next level for me, because as you probably actually don't know, that I am also an author, teacher, speaker of gratitude and the law of vibration. And, as I teach and as I write, some of this energy was channeled to me. And people say, "Oh, you don't channel that. What's a channel?" I'm like, and it's like automatic writing. It's like tuning into the energies. It's trusting your intuition. It's all of that.
It's all the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same. And it's all channeled either way you look at it. And so one day I was preparing to write or do something, and it came to me how information is channeled down to the soul. To the physical body, from the soul to the physical body. And what came to me was that, we have higher dimensional beings, such as, I don't know if whoever watches Abraham Hicks or whomever, whoever you listen to, Cryon, it's like one of my favorites, where you allow yourself to sit in the sacred space, meditation will have you prepare your space around you. And you sit in that space and you allow your vibration, your energy to rise. And as that energy vibration allows it to rise, then the multi-consciousness, the multi-entities disseminate the information down. Mm-hmm. So it's always more than one entity or soul or being that's transmitting information down to you. So it's a lot of layers in connecting into channeling or sending out information of such high levels. And when I think about, what I just mentioned to you about translating, it brings such joy to know that I'm allowing myself to be open to bring this information forward, to be of service to other people in new ways now.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And that's, and that's why we're here. That's why you're here, right? Here's to be of service. And I think more people are starting to understand that we're not here to be of service to ourselves or service to our family, but to literally to be of service to all life on earth.
Yeah.
That the more of us who start to grasp that, it's that we are all one. We're all one experience, having this human experience. We are love, having a human experience, and that service to the whole is what will create this world, the heaven on earth, the peace on earth. We've been saying for thousands of years that we want. We have to get out of our. It's interesting because it's about loving ourselves first, ultimately, because we can't be the love for everyone else unless we're the love within ourselves first. And that it isn't about service to self either.
Yes.
But loving ourselves, service to the whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgive me. As you were speaking, I was having a moment of feeling that love, feeling that energy that was coming in, because right now that is so important to have on the planet as we continue to transform this energy, because that's what we're in right now. We're in a transformative space, moving from one to the other. And the key to that, I have to say it again, but feeling excited and ready to step into that pure love that we all want.
Mm-hmm. That we all are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not what we want.
We've just been told that it's outside of us, but it's actually inside of every single one of us.
Yeah, we have to remember that. We have to accept that. We have to recall that energy from within to be expressed outwardly. I love having these conversations.
I do too. And that's why I invited you to be here, because it's just to be in that, and wish that everyone could experience that inner bliss that comes with remembering who we are.
Yes. I mean, and people, and those who are watching now or later, you can really experience this by being in your joy, whatever your joy is. If it's just sitting in a bubble bath, or if it's just sitting in front of your altar, meditating, or just out for a bike ride, or sitting by a lake, or watching your movie, whatever it is. There are these moments of joy, these moments of love, and sometimes you just have to bask in those moments. And what I love about this is that when you bask in these moments are extended. I was joking with a friend of mine who did a reading for me recently. And I said, yeah, I'm having difficulty focusing at times now. It's like I can sit and meditate for like 3-4 minutes and it's like, you're done. I'm like, no, but I want to stay here. Even though those 3 or 4 minutes felt like maybe 10 or 15 or 20, it was like just that short. And then, even sometimes when I have sessions with my clients, even though it was like an hour long, it seemed like it was like that. I mean, it's all in how you allow the experience to come to you and how you allow the experience to enter into your well-being.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that I find most interesting, as I mentioned before, that on a soul level, we all choose our life. We choose our family. We choose everything. We just don't remember that we choose everything. Mm-hmm. we come in here with selective amnesia, have moments of deja vu. But it wasn't until, I was in my early to mid-20s, and I had a great job, loved the people, loved what I did, working for a big bank, in the marketing department, loved it, and so it was, I survived maybe 4 rounds of merger cuts. And I'm like, okay, so they're going to keep my department. Yeah, I'm good. And came to like maybe the 5th round. I was like, nope, cutting your department. I'm like, no. And so what that did for me is like, okay, I have all this knowledge. What am I going to do with it? So I created a business. A small business for marketing to small business, marketing for small businesses, doing graphic design for them as well, just small little things. And it was beautiful. I mean, because I had my own hours, did what I wanted to do. It was just bliss because I was doing me. I was in my space. And it wasn't until in 2008, things were going well for quite a few years, And 2008 came, recession hit, rug pulled out from under me. I'm like, okay, now what? Because at the time, people considered what I did for their business a luxury, not a necessity. So, clients like, well, I can't do it this time. So it's like, this whole losing the business, relationship, so it's like everything happened at once. Mm-hmm. Business, relationship, everything just all at one time. I was a mess.
You had what I call your holy shift.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And at the time, one of my good friends, she said, Hillis, do you need a job? I'm like, yeah, I need something to make ends meet. So it was a part-time little gig. And so it was helping me to make ends meet. But it wasn't until, one day my aunt came to pick me up and we had one of our little secret rendezvous that we always do. We run to Costco and do this and do that, just aunt and nephew time. And so one day she came to pick me up. And, where I worked, there was a Cold Stone Creamery 2 doors down, which was dangerous, always dangerous. And I went and got my favorite pint of ice cream. And, we got to my apartment. She said, Hillis, do you ever think that you were depressed? And I'm like, no. It's like, you're sitting here with ice cream, you're doing this, life. I'm like, and never once did it occur to me that I was depressed. Not in the slightest bit. It took her to point it out to me. I mean, I knew my life was a mess, but I didn't realize on any level that I was depressed. And so with that realization, through these moments, of, getting things back on track, I eventually, got a job and things started moving again. But it was then, I realized that the foundation of everything, the foundation for all that I do, the foundation for all that I have is gratitude. So the energy of gratitude, that was my moment for me to really understand the energy of gratitude, of having that foundation of gratitude to really cement everything that came after, having a better job, going to working out again, having my friends and family support me, emotionally and financially, just having everything just kind of snowball, thereafter. And I'm like,
it all came from
yes, and no one told me it was this easy. How come no one told me all I have to do is just make that mental shift? But when you're in it and having all the emotional breakdowns and this stuff, you don't listen to anybody. You kind of like wallow in your own stuff a while because it feels good. And then someone says, you're depressed. It's like, no. It's like it takes someone else to point it out. And so now, I don't mind pointing stuff out to people as long as they know in the long run, I'm not responsible for your well-being. You are. I'm just here to help you along the way.
Well, and that for some reason my camera is, sorry. I all of a sudden have a reverberation for some reason. Hello? Okay. I don't know. It's weird. My microphone was reverberating for absolutely no reason.
It's spirit.
Okay. There were three
echoing the message.
Yeah, and so for me, I find that gratitude is the best antidepressant. It cures depression.
It is.
And the first chapter of my book, Transcending Fear, is dedicated to that. It's begin with gratitude. Where else would you begin? That's the best place to begin.
Because you're already there. You're in that emotional space of wanting to feel better, wanting to do better. And as I teach it to some people, that gratitude allows us to see, to understand the challenges that we've allowed ourselves to come through. And it lays that foundation to step up to the next level, which is appreciation, which we now can step into the energy to appreciate what has happened, to appreciate where we are, to appreciate what is to come, because we are the great creators. We are the manifestors. And through appreciation, which is the same frequency as love, we can call that into our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. So if people were to get in touch with you, where would be the best place for them to, do you have free gifts for people or any kind of discounts or anything like that?
Actually, it's so funny because it is spring. And so I have a spring offer for those who are watching. And they can contact me directly at hillispugh.com. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Or email me at hillis@hillispugh.com. And there they can reach out to me, connect with me directly. And the spring special that I have going on is I have one 45 to 60-minute session with me of my Lemurian Light work that I do for $85, when it's usually more than that, or 3 sessions with me for $220, and usually, which is more than that. And the Lemurian Light work, just real briefly, is something that I'm so happy that found me in terms of assisting people to release their trauma, to let go of trauma, to let let go of any shame, pain, guilt, anger, any low vibrating frequency that you feel is blocking you from being your complete best. I mean, it's almost like a one-all, if you will. It's like a catch-all. And with this particular energy, I would work with the inner child, the adolescent, the adult, and not just only chakra alignment, also soul retrieval energy to do all that your soul is being asked for right now in this life, because now is the time to really do some spring cleaning, some soul spring cleaning, if you will.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That is great. You know, and one of the other things I've noticed too, and this was just, Spirit just reminded this in the last couple of days, that when you and I first had, because my spiritual awakening had to do with the 2008 holy shift as well. We're in another one of those right now. So yes. These breakdowns create breakthroughs for people. So we're in another one of those again. This one happens to be a global breakdown, which is creating a global breakthrough. What's interesting, what Spirit was telling me, is that before it took us a couple of years to move through these processes. Now the people that are waking up now will be able to move through those processes much quicker. So they don't have to take as much time as we did healing our past stories, because there's so many more healers and so much more wisdom and knowledge about the healing on the planet now than there ever has been in any other time. So for people who are feeling that your services align with them, I highly suggest that they connect with you, because that healing process is so much faster now than it used to be.
It is. And I can definitely say, even for myself. And one of the things that I became clear on, you know, it's not on my website yet, but one thing that I came clear on for myself internally, that I am not a healer. I'm no one's guru. I am not a light worker. I am none of these things. What I am is a light transmitter and a light transmuter, one who shines and shifts and changes light, and the new version of alchemy, you know, but in a quantum form, because it is in this is where the soul operates. This is in all the way down to, you know, from the high soul, your oversoul, the high self, all the way down to your DNA structure. You know, for those who are in this process, yes, it, you know, I've had sessions with clients where it was very, you know, emotionally painful. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the process, I mean, through the, you know, the 3 or more sessions, it was a beautiful, beautiful unfolding to witness this new being, this being that was already there, emerge from the muck, if you will. And sometimes I like to make the comparison of the lotus, because sometimes when you have a lotus flower, yes, it's in the muck, but the beauty that emerges, the light that emerges is breathtaking. And so anyone who feels drawn to work with me, to assist you on your path, I will be honored to be of service to you, because this is what brings me joy. This is what lights me up, mm-hmm. is to see myself being of service to you, to have you live your best and most potential life.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and as one of us is healed, the whole world is healed.
Yes, indeed.
As Buddha said, as one candle is lit, 1,000 candles are lit, something like that. Not so my quotes, but he did say something about, one candle can light 1,000 candles without ever being extinguished. That's what it was. Yeah. Yes, so I know you don't call yourself a light worker, but technically you are, because the term for a light worker is really those who work in and on behalf of the light.
Yes, this is true. And the reason why those terms came to me is because of the over commercial use, if you will.
Yeah, the last couple of years, awakened has taken on a different term. Light worker has kind of become a term, but when we first discovered it, I don't know about you, but when that term first came to me 15 years ago, I was just taken back by it because it was such an amazing, someone called me that, and I said, well, what does that mean? And she said, oh, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, like we all do, right? We all have to.
But it has become kind of a mainstream term. But really what it is people who have chosen it as part of their life plan, their soul plan, to come here and work on behalf of the light to help other people find their light within themselves.
Yes. This is so much joy. I can't wait to have you on our show, Victoria. I cannot wait at all.
Well, you know where to find me.
Yeah, I do. It's going to be real soon, too.
Oh, and we had talked about it, a month or so ago, and finally just decided to hit you up this time and get you on.
Yeah, like I said, there's been some hiccups and changes since then, because I had everything all laid and planned, and then hiccups happen. I'm like, okay, got to shift now, and so been in the middle of that shifting, and now things are finally coming together as they should be, and so I couldn't be any happier with the progress and results that's being made right now. And so you get a kick out of Rebecca.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm excited to meet your new team. And this is part of it. I mean, Spirit was telling me back in January that who we are here to be in 2020 and moving forward for a lot of people is radically different than who they were 2020 and earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I have people coming to me and asking me, well, now who am I supposed to be? Because Spirit just keeps saying, wait, okay, go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this whole entire year is, want people to remember that, one, we have to slow down. We have to have patience in this year, period. Mm-hmm. And then as we slow down and as we become more patient with ourselves, we see the opportunities to grow. We see the opportunities to take advantage of, to take action. Because, people want action, but we have to slow down and have patience before we can take the action. Because it is in that in which all is made. It is in that in which all is key.
Yeah, 2020 was really necessary. I keep telling people that it was the necessary pause button that we all needed between the old world and the new world we're creating. And I was even sensing that before the lockdown even happened at the beginning of last year, that we were going to be asked to go inside and remember who we are and remember what's important. And I kept hearing Spirit saying, asking us to go inside and remember me, call upon Spirit and remember who we really are. And we were not able to find that within the chaos that was happening, running around all over the place, having our what's truly important needed to be reworked. We needed to remember family, love, and go inside of ourselves. So going inside of our houses also involved going inside of ourselves. And I think that's why, I don't know if you've seen it, but over the last year, the number, and we knew this was coming. How many years ago were we calling it the Great Awakening is coming, the Great Awakening is coming, the Great Awakening is coming?
Yeah.
Here.
Right, yeah.
The Great Awakening is here. And now the masses of humanity are waking up. And we simply woke up early so that we could be of service to everyone else as they start waking up. Yeah. So that we can all move together as one collective of humanity into this new world that we're creating. So
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. I just feel all of the love. That's beautiful.
It is.
I feel the love when you speak. I love that. And it's not too many people where I feel the love from them when they speak, and it's such a joy to feel that from you.
Thank you, and likewise.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been fun. We probably have officially been on the camera.
We have to do it again sometime.
For an hour. Yeah. So we'll do this again for sure. So invite me on your show when it's all set up and ready. And
Victoria, thank you so much. It has been an honor to be here and have this beautiful, loving, enlightening conversation with you.
Likewise. So great to finally meet you in person.
Yes.
Okay. Love to you.
Love to you.
I'll
Bye for now.
Okay. Bye.